Hey y'all, it's Betsy with Happily Ever After, etc. and welcome back to another resin project. So today I'm going to be showing you how to preserve wedding flowers, any dried flowers really, in resin. We are going to be making this resin ornament and this resin paperweight. It's a little heart with wedding flowers from my best friend's wedding. I recently made her this ornament with her name, her husband's name, and their wedding date on it. I am doing a class over at the Cricut Craft Fest. This is their holiday craft fest. I did it last year. We made adorable ornaments. And so I wanted to do personalized ornaments this year. So I did wedding flowers, Legos, flowers from a bouquet of mine, sand from a trip we took as a family recently, just anything you might want to preserve in resin. And I added Cricut decals to the front to show what those things were from. And I showed you how to actually work the Cricut decals in Cricut Design Space to fit your different ornament shapes. So after I made this for my best friend, she saw it and she was like, okay, I have to have one for my mom and for my mother-in-law. So today that's what we are going to be working on. What we're going to be pouring is these two pieces, and I'll be walking you through all the tips and tricks I know on how to best preserve your wedding flowers without harming them in any way. Of course, I did dry these in silica gel. They're little beads which preserve the flowers, their color, and their structure without harming them. It takes quite a while if you let them sit the proper amount of time, but I have found that with resin that is your best solution. If you need quicker times, there are quicker ways to do it that work well, just not as well as the long term version. Either way, I will be showing you bigger projects to do with wedding flowers. If you want to join me at the Cricut Craft Fest, I will be showing you the Cricut version of this. But for today, I'm going to be showing you the little ornament and the little heart keepsake. Just little things, because not everyone wants a huge bouquet preserved piece in their home. Sometimes you just want a little memento. And that is what we're going to do. So let's go outside and I'm going to set up my workspace to start pouring these and get them preserved. Let's do it. All right, y'all. So we are going to be pouring an ornament and this cute little faceted heart. So one is for my bestie's mother-in-law, and one is for her mama. So we are going to be using Maker Epoxy by Total Boat today. This is a 1-to-1 ratio. So we are simply going to put 1 pump of A, because I have pumps, to 1 pump of B. You could also, we're going to do about 200 milliliters. You'll need 100 milliliters of A and 100 milliliters of B. Once we add those all into our cup, we will slowly mix them up for about 3 minutes, and then we will start to pour. It's going to take me a minute to fill my cup and to do that mixing for 3 minutes, so give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and do all of that, and I will be right back. Make sure that when you're stirring slowly. You're scraping the sides, scraping the bottom, and you are truly incorporating every bit of that part A and the part B together. Now, I usually use a big silicone stirrer. It gives you more surface area. But this is a pretty quick and easy project. And honestly, I just didn't want to clean up today, so we're using a disposable popsicle stick with our disposable cup. That way this can go right in the trash when we are finished. And there's something to be said for that some days, whereas other days, if I use disposables for every single project, the cost would definitely add up. So the cleanable project pieces, the silicone cups and stirrers are very useful. This is a pretty little project. We don't need a big cup. We're just going to do a nice, easy little resin pour. Now, like I said at the beginning, I am doing a whole series, not just wedding flowers, of different things you can encase in resin, sentimental pieces over at this year's Cricut Craft Fest. I'll show you how to pour with different objects, and then I will show you how to put Cricut on the front, little vinyl decals. So I actually poured this one right here for my best friend with her wedding flowers, and I put Rachel and Dilip and their wedding date on the front of it for their Christmas tree. And when I gave it to her, she was like, oh my God, my mom would love this. So we are back to the drawing board making one for her mama. She thought her mother-in-law would appreciate a little paperweight more. So we are doing one of each. That is one of the best parts about resin, is you really just have so many options. Like if one person is not a big Christmas kind of person, you can make them whatever you want. I thought a ring cone might be nice because you can take off your rings, encase some really pretty flowers in there, and then you have a nice sentimental but functional piece. But she said neither her mom or her mother-in-law really take off her wedding rings, and they don't wear a lot of other jewelry. So there you go. That is not the piece for them. I've made those for other friends who've gotten married. They always really like them. I made her one for her bathroom. That's really the only time she takes her rings off. So you can kind of see striations when you're stirring the two things together, the part A and the part B. The more you stir, you should stop seeing those striations, and that's when you know they are fully mixed together. We're going to go ahead. It's been 3 minutes. I'm going to sit this down, and I'm just going to let those bubbles rise to the top for about a minute. We'll pop them with our heat gun, and then we will pour. So for now, I'm just going to literally set this cup down for a minute and see what the bubbles do. All right, so after a minute, you can see that a lot more bubbles have come to the top. And now we're just going to use our little heat gun to pop those. You can use a torch, however, silicone molds will melt with a torch, so I find that a heat gun is gentler. And safer. So pop those bubbles. We're going to start by really getting into a lot of those petals, because as we pour, if we don't get all the way inside these roses specifically, they will release a lot of air bubbles into our final piece. I'm just going to start by kind of using my popsicle stick to guide it over those flowers. Really saturate all the petals, all the layers. Ooh, get my glove. When you are stringing your resin like this as well, instead of pouring it in a big glob, for lack of better words, you also have a lot less bubbles, because bubbles have a harder time traveling down that single string of resin than they do just dumping out of this cup. I'm going to carefully coat all our flowers. Now, I actually had my best friend arrange these how she wanted in the molds. So we're going to try to keep the flowers as close to how she arranged them as possible. There is no right or wrong way to arrange flowers. It is just however you want them. The main thing is to keep in mind that, of course, they need to fit below the surface of the mold. The main rose in this mold did not want to do that, so we ended up taking a few of the outer layers of petals off. And then it fit much better. And of course, I have dried all of these flowers in silica gel. so that they will retain their color. And I've actually already used quite a few of them in resin pieces, so I know that they're doing well. Like, leave that one to sit for a minute and start on this guy. And this one is a little different because the front of this mold is actually the bottom. So we want to make sure we get resin all the way into every nook and cranny of this piece, or he will have holes on the bottom, which is not ideal. That's okay. We'll just keep going slow. And if we have to literally popsicle stick every drop of resin into these molds, we will. They're not exactly big pieces. In my Resin for Beginners class, I show you how to do an entire preserving of a bouquet. That baby is big. It took about a week to finish, but it is so pretty. We'll be doing another one of those soon for my best friend. The first one that I did was kind of a test run. I will show you the entire process if you hop over to my Resin for Beginners class on preserving your wedding bouquet. We're going to let that sit for a minute. Now, when you are popping bubbles with flowers, you want to be very careful because they can burn. The petals are very delicate. So, quick passes. Never hold your heat gun in one place for too long. Keep on trucking. You can see we have a couple dry spots in this one, so let's go back to adding resin, especially in the rows here. We're seeing the top of those petals now, which means the resin has had a chance to sink into those spaces. We want to keep filling that up before we flood the entire mold, so that the entire petal, the entire flower is encased all the way down to the very bottom. And that's easier said than done. Now, if you really hate air bubbles, you can always use a pressure pot to put your piece in, and that will really help release the bubbles. I don't mind the bubbles as much. I kind of think they're like a design element. But you do whatever you want. It's pretty good. This one I think is going to be a lot easier because that rose is on its side and not facing straight up or down in the mold. Now, if we wanted to put a rose face down in a mold so that all those open layers were underneath, we would want to take that flower, put it in a silicone mold on a silicone sheet, flood it with resin exactly how we're doing now, let it cure, and then put it face down in the resin. Otherwise, you will get trapped bubbles underneath, and the piece will not preserve quite the way you want it to. It's an extra step, but in this kind of a case, it's definitely worth it. I'm also really coating this amaranth as we go, just in case it has any little air bubbles inside. This guy might almost be ready for that top flood coat to bring it level. So far, these are doing beautifully, which was exactly what I want. I am always a sucker for sentimental pieces, and of course I want ones I do for other people to turn out better than ones I do for myself because they are trusting me. I mean, my best friend is trusting me with her wedding flowers. That's pretty big. We just go slow and steady. I think we've covered pretty much the entire piece, so we're going to go ahead and very slowly try to pour in enough resin to cover the pieces. Just go in a thin stream, making sure not to displace any of the flowers with a big flood. In case you're curious, this mold takes about 100 milliliters. Wasn't 100% sure how much this mold took, so it's been a while since I've poured it, so I mixed 200 milliliters. And it looks like we have about 20 or 30 left. I'll use them to do another small piece. And there we go. We'll let these sit, and you can tell there's air in some of these guys because they keep coming up. My gloves are completely resined at this point, so I'm not worried too much about touching the resin. But they're looking good. They're looking good. Let's let the bubbles pop. And I will continue to pop the bubbles over the next 20-30 minutes maybe as the resin cures. Making sure that the flowers don't float or get displaced, and then after 24 hours we will unmold these. See you then. Okay, so it has been 24 hours and these guys are fully cured. So we're going to go ahead and unmold them and see what they look like. At least this one, we need to see what the front looks like. Oh, it's pretty. Okay, so dun, 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 dun. I like that rose in there. The like leaves went all the way open so you can really see the petals with the fractured hearts. I keep saying fractured, the factored. That's so cute. Oh, that's so pretty. That would actually be a really pretty like sun catcher. And I think she wants me to put on the back where it's smooth, probably like right here, the Rachel and Dilip, October 7th, their wedding date. This one is the one for her mother-in-law. And we want to leave that front really crystal clear. But especially like right behind those petals, we could do a little bit of cricketing. So if you want to check that out, I show you how to go into Cricut Design Space, do all your personalized details, end up with all those pretty personalized details cricketed right on your little resin. These are also wedding flowers. So this is the one that started it all that I made for my best friend. It's gonna go on her tree that she was like, okay, we have to make one for my mom and my mother-in-law. So if you want to check that out, I am showing you how to make this ornament, 5 others with some flowers for my bouquet, some sand from a recent family trip, some Legos from one of my friend's kiddos, all those personalized details, and add the Cricut details over at this year's Cricut Craft Fest. I'll leave all the details down below. It's free to join us. I'm one of like 40 different speakers showing you all kinds of different Cricut crafts. So come hang out with us for the week. It's going to be really fun. It's the 2nd through the 6th. So if you are right in that period, October 2nd through the 6th, come hang out with us. If you're watching this after the fact, you can always grab the VIP pass. I don't even remember how much it is. I think it's like $50 at its most expensive, and you'll get all the videos from every single presenter to keep like forever. So check it out if you feel the need to come hang out with us. I know I'm excited to see what the other people are making, but I think the ones I made turned out pretty cute. Let's go ahead and do this one. So this one, the front is face up, so we already kind of know what this one looks like, but still fun to see him out of the mold. And this one, sun must have just gone behind a cloud or something. She doesn't want Cricut words on. This one's going on her mom's tree, and she just wants it with that pretty flowers. And if you guys are doing, she had a fall wedding, obviously, October 7th. If you are doing a fall wedding with fall colors, the amaranth she had in her bouquet was stunning in her bouquet and in these resin details. This side was pretty too. And of all the things we worried about with our resin, this rose did fine. This one had all the air inside of it. So, you know, go figure. Oh, they're so cute. Just a little happy trio family of resin goodness. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you'll come hang out with us at the Craft Fest, but if not, I will be back with even more resin goodness coming up. Don't worry. I made in my Resin for Beginners class an entire, bigger than this pie tin display for Rachel's wedding bouquet as a test to see how all the flowers did. And when she was here, we laid out the real one with all her wedding bouquet flowers. I'm going to be pouring that for y'all soon. So if you are not following along and you want to see how to preserve an entire bouquet, not just these little keepsakes, make sure you're subscribed because that one's going to be stunning. I can't wait. Bye, y'all.